Hi, this is Hillary with Lazy Lima DIY, my crafty little corner of the YouTubes. And I know I promised that my next video was going to be pinch pots, but you would not believe how unsuccessful I have been with pinch pots. So I thought I would show you how I block something that I have knit. I have this shawl that I knit up. I believe, is it the Age of Brass and Steam shawl? I'll have to look that up and put that in the information below because I cannot all of a sudden remember the yarn or the pattern. But anyway, it's been sitting in my upstairs in this pile and it needs to be blocked. And it is soaking wet right now. And I will show you that it is on my beach towel, which I am going to roll this up because I don't want to like just ball it up and get the water out, but I'm going to use the towel to gently absorb the excess water. But to be honest, our air conditioning stopped working 2 days ago and it's going to be fixed tomorrow. So this will be dry probably in like an hour. So I've done this all along the edge, or all within the roll, and I've just been squeezing that tight. You could even, if you really wanted to get the water out, for most items, you could just twist it until it's all in a ball. Oh, and here's a little end. I usually don't weave in ends until sometimes never. But that's just a little secret between you and I. We don't have to tell the world that. But you can actually get it into a ball and then pull. And sometimes I'll step on this end and pull. I'll do that with like a sweater. This is just a shawl. And the towel is going to absorb most of the water, and as I unravel it, you can't see this, but this is much less wet. So we're going to take this over to where we have some space to lay it out, and I'm going to show you how to pin it. So let's go. It is so hot. I am not putting any lights on. I am not doing anything about this lighting. I am so sorry. But anyway, I'm here in the living room. You want to find a place that if you have a lot of people in your house that's not going to get a lot of traffic, or if you're clumsy and forgetful, that you're not going to forget and walk on and trip over or whatnot. I'm going to continue using my towel and oops, what I do with my pins. I have a bunch of straight pins. Technically, you should be using the ones that are stainless steel that will not rust. I can never remember which ones are stainless steel. I should probably just buy only stainless steel pins, but then I wouldn't be me, would I? So we're going to look down, and I'm hoping, I have the ceiling fan on, so I hope it's not bothering you, Kath, because it's 80-something degrees in the house, so it's not getting turned off. I just tried to angle everything. So let's look down at our towel here. I'm gonna get out of the way. Okay, so here is our shawl, and we can see our shawl's shape. And we want to, I always try to keep this as in straight a line. And usually the problem people have with blocking is being afraid to use enough pins. So I always go right on carpet, and I just stick my first pin, I just stick it right into the carpet. It just goes right in there. And I'm going to do a few across the top, and I'm kind of pulling it, but not a lot. And I'm lucky I have a pattern here to be careful of, so it's giving me my guidelines. And I'll know if suddenly I've not gone straight. And I also have this pattern down the center to keep my eye on. So as we go down here, and in the places where like there's a big hole here. If I stick my pin in it, it's not really gonna do anything. So I kind of go through that strand. And then when I pull it, I actually get a little bit of traction. So we're just going to fast forward. I might not have enough pins. And when we get down to the bottom, I want to make sure it's a point. I might have to readjust this later. Just keep that in mind, that that is a possibility, because as we stretch the sides, this might rise up. So that's looking pretty straight. Now I'm going to work on getting this flat, getting my V's straight, and getting my edges nice and straight. I've used as many as like 2 or 3 packs of pins. I can already tell I'm not going to have enough for this. I did a really big shawl once where I literally was wrapping pieces like under, it was going under chairs, and because there just wasn't enough floor space. But this is tiny and it will work. And the thing you want to avoid is doing this, because see how that curves? That's how it's going to dry. So we want to make sure it's straight. So if we have to move it after we get all the pins in and make an adjustment, that is just part of the process. And we're going to be right down to the very corner. So you can see here that I have this corner that rolls up and does a little, because this is where I started or ended, I guess. I don't know. Can't remember if this is, I guess this was top down. I don't know. I never remember. Yeah, it was, because there's a... So I'm going to put a couple of extra ones in here to kind of carry the tension, but I'm going to straighten out this corner, and so this part will lay flat, and I put a lot of pins in this corner because I do want to make sure that it comes to a point, because to me that's what a shawl is all about, that you have nice triangles there at the end. So you can see now I've got all my pins in, and check and make sure that everything is straight. And I see that this is making a curve here. So I'm just going to straighten that out. So remember when I said that we might have to take that point pin out? It looks like we just might. And yep, and give it a new point. And don't worry over much about stretching. I mean, you don't want to stretch it like ridiculous, but if you have something that's a lace in it, you do want to give it enough straight so that you do want to give it enough stretch so that when we take the pins out and it's just on its own, that this eyelet design is nice and visible. Because that's what you knitted in there for, right? Here, this hole looks way bigger, so this is probably an error. I wonder if I can make that smaller with, I don't think so. I can kind of scooch this up toward the end here and pull it in. And we're just going to straighten out this edge. This is the part of blocking that gets tedious, is you know, when you want something to be perfectly straight. When you're successful, I mean, when you're not successful and you've not blocked it like completely straight, you don't really notice, at least I don't. But when you are successful and it is completely straight, I mean, you feel like you've like solved world hunger. We're going to leave our pin cushion here, and we are going to let this dry, and we're going to come back and tackle it in the morning and see what we end up with. Okay? Okay. Everything is nice and dry, so we're just going to start pulling up our pins and checking to see what we have. And one of the good things is, like, if I take this pin out of the point, you can see it just stays right there. So that is a good thing. Got all these tiny little pins in here because I did not want to go upstairs and get another box of yellow-headed pins. As I said, it was hot down here. It was like 5 degrees hotter upstairs. Okay, so all of our pins are out. Oop, no, not all of them. There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot. I tried to make this this larger hole here, which is probably some sort of mistake. I tried to see if I could fix that in the blocking, and there we go. So that is how to block a scarf or a shawl or socks or a sweater or whatever. Don't feel like